Alright everybody, here's a final table of the Sunday Million Anniversary Edition. 1.5 million for first, 1 million for second. Ninth place is going to be paying 72,000, so everybody's in for a good prize here. This right here is Vanessa, Kade. She was my pick yesterday. She was in like 30th place with 70 people left going into final day, so we'll see what happens here.
Well, hello there. This is Jeff, and I'm headed down to Atlantic City today. I'm going to see what March Madness is about in 2021. Hopefully better than it was last year. And just driving down the Atlantic City Expressway right now. I'll switch the camera around a little here. As you can see, cruising along. 76 miles an hour, and the car is doing the driving, not me. That's why I'm able to focus on the video. So one of the things I want to check out today is how the casinos are looking now in 2021, what the crowd looks like, and what it looks like to be a bettor down at March Madness this year. So hopefully you'll come along and join me. So the first stop today is Ocean Casino, home of a Million15th sportsbook. From there, I'm going to walk down to the Hard Rock and over to the Resorts, which has the DraftKings sportsbook, and we'll see where we go from there. On the ride down, there was actually a few more cars than I'm used to seeing on what would be a Friday afternoon in March, so that's a good sign that it might be a bit busier down here. The New Jersey regulations currently are 50% occupancy rate, so I don't know if they'll be limiting access to the sportsbooks. But hey, let's go inside and see what it looks like. So here at Million15th Sportsbook at Ocean, it's actually not too crowded. You can see over my shoulder here, fairly light crowd. It's just the afternoon games going on. Flip it around, we can take a look at the scene of what it looks like right now.
That pot's worth about like 500,000. Just those chips in the middle there is worth like 500,000, 300,000 or something. Easy.
Looks like all the tables are reserved, and it's only reserved seating.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I gotta help cut down on the crowd a bit. Let's keep moving on. head over to Hard Rock and take a walk down the boardwalk. Out here today, so hopefully you can hear me. I was kind of surprised it wasn't more crowded there at the Million15th Sportsbook at Ocean. They had it all roped off, so I think there was a lot of people that might have been in the sportsbook, but because they didn't have a reservation for a table, they didn't even bother kind of going to the ropes and try to stand there and watch some games. So let's go over to Hard Rock. I understand they have some separate seating towards the arena, away from the sportsbook. Maybe it'll be a little more crowded over there. We'll check out what their sportsbook's looking like. Oddly, I think there's more people at the small, tiny Hard Rock Sportsbook than there was at William Hill, which is a large, expensive book. Notice there was a $250 max bet on the kiosks there. That's not unusual these days. Anymore, these kiosks have really low limits. Gonna walk over and check out the auxiliary sportsbook space that they set up. Nice auxiliary space here. Little pods that you can watch the game at. Definitely a better situation than in the sportsbook itself. Although you are limited to just one TV that you have in front of you. But for the most part, looks like a nice little setup here for probably reservations only. The Hard Rock seems more crowded than it needed to be. There's a lot of people jammed into their small little sportsbook nook with the small TVs all crowded around watching some games. A little more space in the area by the arena, but for the most part, it wasn't the best viewing experience. They could do better, and hopefully they will in time. I expect DraftKings will probably be the most crowded casino sportsbook that we've visited so far.
Alright, that guy finishes in 8th place. He picks up 105,000. Vanessa jumps another pay jump. She's up to 154,000. This is probably definitely going to be her biggest online score.
Into the sportsbook itself is sold out. You need a reservation for that. However, there still is a crowd around here. Pan around. And there's some promotions over on this side that are getting a lot of action. I think to sign up for a DraftKings account and get $10. That's a horrible deal, but whatever.
She had some kind of lame feud with Dan Blazarian on Twitter, and she got her GG sponsorship taken away. I just heard this all a couple days ago when I was talking to a friend of mine. I didn't know about all that, but I guess she has some sort of problem with Dan Blazarian because she thinks he's like bad for women or something. I don't understand it. I don't think he's done anything wrong to women. Like he's he's not forcing anybody, so I don't know why she feels the need to. But I don't know. That's her opinion, I guess.
Any sports book in Vegas is probably going bonkers. There were a couple cheers, but it's kind of subdued because it's just not the same with all the restrictions. So
If a gay guy had a whole bunch of boyfriends or a woman had a whole bunch of boyfriends, I don't think you'd hear Vanessa Kade saying too much about that, so I don't seem to agree with that opinion, but good luck to her anyways. Social justicer's gonna social justice, right?
If you ever come down to Atlantic City, two of the most iconic non-casino places to eat in town are located just across the parking lot of each other. We have the Irish Pub, which has been down here for decades, and right across the empty parking lot is the Piccadilly Pub, which is a great place for wings. And I didn't say these are clean places to eat or places that will be the finest quality of dining experience, but they are iconic, and the food is actually pretty good. So if you're ever in Atlantic City, there's located.
Actually, I wonder if she's actually streaming this right now.
I've got it, but you can rep it all you want.
Oh, they're streaming it, but it's on like a 20-minute delay, so it probably will fuck up my. I don't really feel like comment. Oh, I don't really feel like commenting on it, but this one's on like a 20-minute delay or something. Yeah, they're still not even at the final table on the stream. I don't think Vanessa's streaming this. I think that would be a smart idea. There's so much money here that it's not worth being distracted.
When times get tough, no one should feel left in the dark. Introducing Connected for Life. It's our promise to keep you connected while we help you find the right financial relief programs. Visit hydro1.com.
No, I'm not sure what you're St. James. Yeah. But anyway, they're both no, I can't miss. It is St. James Place. That's the street the Irish Pub located on. Okay, headed into Bally's now. Bally's recently changed hands. It was acquired by the Twin River Casino Corporation, who then changed their name to Bally's, which is a pretty bold move considering Bally's has less than stellar reputation here in Atlantic City. However, looks like they're going to do some good things with the property. There's a new FanDuel sportsbook here on the property, and there's also 3 more mobile skins that free up with Bally's So we're going to see probably more sports betting in New Jersey at least. So I'm going to head on in and check it out. Right when you walk in, there's some FanDuel kiosks there by the door. And there's some carpet pointing you towards the FanDuel Sportsbook. Definitely not too crowded here.
I made day 2 of this yesterday, but then I busted, I got about triple my buy-in back, so.
So the FanDuel Sportsbook is pretty functional. Definitely
Not bad, but not, obviously I wanted to get more.
Pretty hopping with people.
It's funny because me and Niffler had the same stack going into day 2. We each had, well actually she had less, I had 220k, and she had like 200k, so it's kind of sucks that I'm not sitting there.
Watching games, or at least not under reservation, and see what it looks like over at the book, which is attached to Caesars and is now powered by William Hill. One more look at the FanDuel Sportsbook here at Bally's.
Times are getting tough right now. She needs to get a hand soon. She can only blind off for so much longer, but she's not going to get in with something bad either. She wants to have some sort of ace-5, king-jack minimum type hand. Jack-10 suited maybe.
This is technically now Caesars on this side now. And it looks to be pretty busy. Definitely more busy than the other William Hill Sportsbook. This is a very nice sportsbook.
This guy's dominating. Look at that stack.
Expansive. Plenty of room.
That stack's worth like 800,000, 900, yeah, 750,000 real dollars, probably. Yeah, easily.
At the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars, formerly called
800,000, 900,000.
What's happening space here today in Atlantic City is pretty crowded. Everything is pretty well distanced, and at the same time, they do have some.
Let's go Niffler, ship it.
People that want to stand in the background and that don't have reservations, so that's nice. They haven't hassled me about doing some minor filming, so that's nice as well.
That's a really good spot to find too, because this guy does. Oh, wow.
In Atlantic City, and it's a pretty nice place.
That's a good shove there because he has ICM problems too to lose that pot. It's not like she doesn't have full equity versus like say him or him, but versus him she actually does, because for him to lose that pot is actually a serious blow to him, so he has to have some sort of hand to call there. That's a smart play.
They rent these out. You have a minimum food and beverage purchase and then there's a charge on top of that. But if you have several people, they could actually be a fun and affordable way to watch the games in the sportsbook. One interesting thing is the kiosks here at the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars are actually Caesars branded. They have the Caesars online sportsbook odds, which aren't as expensive as the odds offered at William Hill Sportsbooks. So that's kind of interesting that they would have the different sportsbook back end for their kiosks here compared to the other William Hill Sportsbook over at Ocean. But it is what it is. I think the lines are going to be generally the same. You're just not going to have as much variety. Okay, I'll finish there at the sportsbooks, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Bally's, as well as the book at Caesars, the William Hill Sportsbook there. Definitely two different vibes there. The FanDuel Sportsbook is actually pretty dead. Probably not a lot of people realize that it's open already. Meanwhile, the William Hill Sportsbook at Caesars was pretty active, but still had plenty of space to go around. Seems like that was probably the nicest place to catch the game so far today. I'm gonna walk back down the boardwalk, head back to the car, and drive over to Borgata and check out what Borgata's doing.
She's on Kijiji. Buying or selling? I can't see. Buying. Home decor. Again? How much sweeter can she make this place? Wow. I can't stop staring.
When abdominal pain ties your belly in knots, use Buscopan and get targeted relief of abdominal pain to relax the cramps and relieve the pain. Buscopan. Untie your belly, untie your life. Ask your pharmacist.
Okay, wrapping up there from Borgata. I didn't do too much narration there when I was inside. It was a little loud, and there really wasn't much to talk about. The Borgata book is nice. I mean, it's basically a restaurant with a sports book attached to it. So it's kind of treated that way. There wasn't much space to stand around nearby, and you basically had to have a reservation. So that wraps up here at Atlantic City. So what was the best of the bunch? I have to say the Caesars Million Notebook was probably the best place to watch the games and have a good experience without having reservations or tables reserved or the seats they have there were for sale. But for the most part, it was plenty of places there to watch the games and choose the biggest in town. I didn't go to the Golden Nugget or Harrods or the Trop. The Trop is yet another William Hill book. Golden Nugget's a real small sports book off to the side, as well as Harrods is a real small sports book. So, I don't think there was anything I'm missing there. One thing that caught me today is that there was not a lot of people in town just for March Madness to watch the games in the sports book. The casinos were packed. It was packed as I've seen in months. So there's a lot of people in town. However, there's not as many that are actually in the sports book, and the sports books aren't really that welcoming to a big crowd right now, so it's not surprising that there's not a lot of people in there. I didn't see a lot of people in line to make bets. I didn't see a lot of people on the phone making bets either. So it's kind of interesting that there just wasn't the demand for sports betting that we've seen on NFL Sundays or even March Madness in 2019. If you're thinking about coming down to Atlantic City and catching another round of March Madness or possibly later in the first round, I'd say go for it. It looks like you need reservations just about everywhere you go, though, so keep that in mind and take that into consideration. Okay, I guess that's going to do it for me from Atlantic City. I hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride and going to the various stores. If you haven't done so already, please think about signing up for unabated.com. That's the new website that I'm putting together along with renowned sports bettor Bruce Peabody. That's going to be all about tools and training and education to make you yourself a sports bettor. And I think you're going to enjoy what you see. We're going to be going into a live beta within the next month and a public beta within a month or so after that, and full site will be operational by the summer. And I think you're going to like what you find on unabated.com. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead there and sign up for some early access. Until next time, go out there and win some wages. case, all of a sudden we have to go cover a poker tournament somewhere, I had a panic attack when I was like, where actually even is it? Because I moved.
Well, bear in mind there are 3 people in my household and we all have dual nationalities. There are 6 passports stacked on a shelf. So they are all where they are meant to be when we can finally travel again. No passport necessary to go to Macau PokerStars Retro on Thursday. And I appreciate this one is very specific to our American viewers, but on Friday of this week, on FS1, you can see the final table of the first ever PokerStars Players Championship. That is a fun final table with some really strong hands, and of course, someone walking away with $5 million. You may know the result. Bear in mind that the people watching, you haven't seen it, you don't know, so don't spoil it. But even if you do know the result, it's still a fun TV show, and that's going to conclude that series. And I believe, Joe, in the days and weeks to follow, there is going to be more shows that have never been seen in the US before airing on FS1.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. Can we get a hint as to what they are?
Recent stuff. I mean, think PCA 2018, think the Cash Challenge from Monte Carlo in 2017. So more of the recent poker, but yeah, a chance for American audiences to see that stuff for the first time.
I'm going to lobby for Shark Cage, and I'm going to lobby for Big Game Season 2.
I'll see what I can do. So, back from break, Icarus opening with Queens. Blinds right now, 2.5 million, 5 million.
I mean, guys, look at this. 69,876 total entries. Down to the final 9. The payouts are on the screen. Everybody getting a really, really nice payday at this point. The most number of bullets anyone's in for here is 4, right? Which is about $1,000 bucks, a little under $1,000. So look at this return on investment. 72 grand, guaranteed.
Well, all
you have to do is get through 70,000 players.
Has a lock on this, and there's 51 million in the pot. Should have done it Mathis style. 51 million in the pot.
Oh man.
Wow.
6 feeling, but I guess they had already decided they were snap calling because that is what happened.
And that will see Icarus move up over 277 million. Second on the leaderboard behind Talibanis.
Joe getting a little feisty here with the ace deuce.
Yeah, and we established earlier on that, oh, we got the all in from Malinga.
Yeah.
And Pancho will fold. Yeah, we were talking about Pancho earlier on, a Bulgarian player, and Nick was obviously really excited by Pancho's background, which is mainly playing hyper turbo sit and goes. And back in kind of 2012, 2013, this player could be found in the $2,000 heads-up hyper turbos.
Oh, well then. Impressive.
Kverchik opening here with King, Queen suited. We've got Ace, Jack suited for Transylvanian, one-time chip leader, now short stack.
Alright, somebody just busted. I missed the hand there. 154,000, 7th. That's pretty good. Vanessa still has a nice stack right now. She's ahead of at least one player here, 2 players.
Just because you're going to be up against hands like
So,
Ace Jack and Ace 10 that you're going to
next payout is going to be, up to 225,000.
be in a domination situation.
Now you're talking serious pay jumps here.
15 million. Yikes.
Good for Ace Jack. There was the straight draw on the turn, but Transylvanian gets the double up. And a bit of a switcheroo. Kverchik now down to 69 million. It's a Blankov, who's now the shortest stack with 10 big blinds, 50 million.
I am Eric asks, can you tell where all the players are from? Yes, I can tell by looking at their flags. Thank you for your question.
Let's run through them, Joe. It is obligatory at this stage when we get down to the final table to recap, or at least to assess the nationalities of our finalists. And we have got 2 players from Russia here, Blankov and Kverchik, 9th and 8th in chips respectively. Transylvanian, as we've established, is a Romanian player. Malinga is from Norway. Nifla, that's Vanessa Kade, playing from Canada. Pancho Vetin is Bulgarian. There is a 3rd Russian at the final table, and that is Peep. Icarus is from the Netherlands. Talibanis is from Poland. strap in, Joe.
Comes.
We've already had the sickest and classicest of races already today, but at the final table, this is just brutal. This is throw up in your mouth time.
This is love versus money, sex versus food.
And Blankov all in. Malinga will call, and we will be off to the races. Blankov needs to hit to survive. Safe flop for Malinga. No ace or king on the river. We have our first elimination from the Sunday Million15th anniversary final table. It is Blankov, who's out in 9th place, receiving 72k. Everyone else has now locked up a 6-figure score. Everyone else is guaranteed more than $105,000.
But Blankov, 8 places away from the victory.
Nicodus opening with 7s and ace king suited for the chip leader.
Oh wow, here we go. She did it. 330,000. Oh my gosh. She was my pick yesterday. I told some people when I was playing that she was going to win this. Or she was my pick at least.
Oh, I see aces for Pancho.
She is really good at hold'em though. I see her on Instagram. She's always posting like, seems like every other day she hits a nice score, so.
Oh, hello, Talibanes.
Pew pew! 11 million from the Queen 10, called by Talibanes.
Poncho just so excited for all this action happening, right? Like you just the nightmares that just folds around you in the small blind. These two hands are just gonna have to give it up. Poncho gets to get up to almost 200 million without taking a flop.
Yeah. And obviously we're talking about ridiculous jumps now in the prize money. Make it from 8th to 7th, that's an additional $50,000. And I mean, look at the jump between 2nd and 1st. 500k.
At this point, your only sweat is to like make it to the point where people are happy to take a deal, right? Like preferred chick and Nif.
Oh no.
At least until those stack sizes are either out.
Up to 483,000. You're up to $500,000 right now. Jeez.
Normally, the Sunday Million is a $109 buy-in. For this special anniversary edition, it was a $215 buy-in. And with nearly 70,000 total entries, a prize pool of nearly 14 million as Ace Jack moves all in and gets 2 folds. Poncho now with pocket jacks.
I wonder if puke means anything in another language. Too bad we'll never know.
Poncho raises to 10 million. Niffler, Vanessa Kade with pocket 7s. Icarus. Icarus is thinking about this, might defend, might see a flop, or alternatively, make the wrong move at the wrong time. 3-betting from the big with King 5 suited. And Poncho flats. We go to the flop, and it is ace high. Okay, maybe Icarus can represent here and force a fold for Poncho.
This is the exact situation that Icarus needed to fire on. Jacks, don't fold.
No.
Jacks, station the flop, turn a heart.
Yeah, I mean, Poncho didn't need to improve, but might be feeling more comfortable now they have the flush draw as insurance in addition to this pair.
Really tough to barrel again here. Even tougher to call it, but wow, both players make good. And Poncho gets a free showdown.
Wow. Icarus gives up on the river, checks it to Poncho, who can check this back. 184 million chip pot. And it's going to be shipped in the direction of Poncho, who's now moved up over 300 million.
Oh my gosh, what a punt.
Stack sizes we're playing with here. cute to get involved with the 2 sevens. King Queen suited. Feels so bad to pick up a hand this good after bluffing off so much of your stack on the last hand. You're like, if I just waited one more hand, I maybe could have actually had some value.
Yeah. Flat's the raise. It's a king high flop. And 2 pair on the river for Icarus. Playing this one a bit cautiously.
There's really not much to be worried about here.
26 million, near enough half pot.
There's lots of kings that can call you. You're beating all of them. Queen again.
Well, I can tell you, Joe, everyone watching on YouTube right now is hyped and excited with good reason.
Oh,
8
wow.
players remaining. From a starting field of
Wow.
nearly 70,000, competing for 1.5 million up top. This is the event we've been building up to for several weeks now.
What a flop here for Cube. Middle pair, flush draw. Ways to make a straight. This is a pretty easy fold. No set, no bet, Calabenes. Don't get crazy.
Wide's now 3 million, 6 million with a 750k ante. King 10 for Vanessa Kade. She folds under the gun. Malinga, Queen Jack suited folds. Malinga, by the way, is another high stakes rogue who specializes in hyper turbos. We've got ace 4 versus ace 7 here.
Don't expect things to get too wild here pre-flop. Stacks this big. You just don't want to go too nuts against a stack that can damage you this much, or in Poncho's case, knock you out. Oh my goodness. Oh, Talibanes. 1 bet, and then 2 bet. This is a 3 bet. This is the 4 bet. I mean, I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong on this hand and just have the 2 of them get it all over with ace 7 and ace 4. Like, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing and disgusting simultaneously.
This one got hit by Nightbot because it was all capped with thunders with the... Why are you trying to bluff the biggest station at the table?
All in here, Kverchik shoving with King 10. Talibanes with Ace Jack. Makes the call. Kverchik at risk, needs to hit. Doesn't hit the flop. And it's a Jack on the turn, and that'll do it for Kverchik. We are down to 7 as Kverchik busted 8th, cashing for $105,537.91. So congrats to the final 7. Now guaranteed more than 154k, with Talibanes increasing their chip lead, Joe. 460 million now.
Hell yeah.
Meanwhile, Jamie asks, does Joe still do stand-up? Jamie, I'm not sure, you might have escaped your attention. There was a pandemic. Can you believe it? Like, there was this virus that spread around the world, and it kind of stopped a lot of activities where people were gathering in public, like stand-up comedy. So, it's not really been possible for the last 12 months.
And even though most of my shows were very sparsely attended, we felt it was best to not cram 6 or 7 people into a basement.
I love that. And a Joe Stapleton gig, it is possible to socially distance.
We were very socially distanced. So it was, it's not hard when there's 300 people in a giant venue, but
You've got King 10 suited for Ekidus. So as far as we're aware, Joe, we don't have any players who we think have come through via satellites. We don't have that Cinderella story, although I'm going to claim Transylvanian as kind of our hero, the people's champion, if you like, because Transylvanian is a micro-stakes player. They've never played anything at this level before, and we think that it was just a case of taking a shot, right? It's kind of like there's this huge event, you're going to try and invest $215 in an MTT, this is probably the one to do it.
Yeah, and look, we call it a Cinderella story when folks satellite in kind of just a second what you're saying, James. You know, $215 is a significant chunk of change, right, for most of the world to put into a poker tournament. But it is the kind of chunk of change you can save up for, right? So you don't necessarily have to satellite into this one. You could just say, hey, I got a budget to play like 1 or 2 of these a year, and if you were going to do it, this would be the one.
Yeah. Taliban has moved over the 500 million mark, by the way. That is 500 million chips. Market 9s is still good, although, what decent draws for Pancho.
One more overcard for Taliban seals the deal, no matter which one it is. One more new overcard, I should say. That's one, that counts. I'll address this comment from Philosopher, who says, great idea, give a budget $215, just put it all in one tourney. Sound advice from Mugs for Mugs. Guys, you're looking at this from a perspective of people that want to be a professional poker player. And by all means, if you want to have some sort of bankroll rule, but the honest fact of the matter is that most people aren't doing that. Most people don't have a bankroll. It's stupid, to be perfectly honest, to think most of the world does.
Wow.
Wasn't that awesome? You saved that guy from my rant.
We've got them all in here, and I think it's going to get cold. Transylvanian shoving with 9s, Pancho with ace queen. We could be off to the races, and we've just been picking up Transylvanian. I hope they are not going to succumb to the commentator's curse. Low flop, ace on the turn, and Transylvanian survives.
Oh my god.
Alrighty, the year of Romania.
Yes.
Whew. I forgot what I was mad about during that, so. Transylvania, the people's hero.
So it is Vanessa Kade who is the short stack right now, with the blinds at 3 million, 6 million. She's got fewer than 10 bigs, a stack of 51 million. Yes, and you're right. Vanessa is in the danger zone.
Danger zone! Only online, am I right?
Yeah.
Only online.
Pocket 4s against 9-7. And I have to say, Taliban is really understanding the pressure they can put the other players under right now and slowly building that stack. Up over 560 million now. The second biggest stack is Pancho, who's got 216 million. That's the thing, we keep saying, oh, it's inevitable that they'll look at the numbers. It's inevitable they'll do a deal with these prize jumps. But if you are controlling such a huge percentage of the chips in play, why would you give up any equity? Or rather, why would you even agree?
Yeah.
Well, this
What
is
been doing
going
here?
in Goodness' direction. Oh, mean, Talabenis is just not going to slow down. Bet the flop. Been checked to Talabenis on the turn. Does now have the wheel draw. $57 million.
Right after you got done being like, this player knows where they're at. They're like, oh, by the way.
Wait for it. That is a horrible card for Icarus. And that is a horrible spot to be in.
Oh my goodness.
That is exactly what Talabenis is doing. I mean, you look at the situation, guys, with the cards up, and you say, oh, top pair have to call. I completely understand that fold. I completely understand why you don't want to call all in on that board. And Talabenis, putting on a clinic right now, is up over 660 million.
That was wild. Oh my goodness. Here's the worst part for Icarus, right? We've seen this a million times. Icarus like makes the tough fold there, and now has a stack that they're probably going to get it in a way worse spot. Like not too long after that.
Yeah.
Luckily, they've got Vanessa, who they really shouldn't be getting their chips in before her. But man, I'm not good enough to fold that there. No way.
Well,
No
maybe
way.
Talabenis doesn't make that move against you. Instead,
Yeah,
decides to
right.
3-bet you, gets the fold, closing in on the 700 million mark now. The distance Talabenis is putting between themselves and everyone else at the table is extraordinary.
Really killing my dreams of seeing a deal here.
Meanwhile, Vanessa getting close.
Oh, the nizzles. Wow. Okay. Guaranteed 707,000.
How much is Talabenis just lobbing lifeline?
I mean, I think has more chips in play than the rest of the table combined.
More than half the chips in play for sure.
Serves me correctly.
Jack 8 for Vanessa Kade, thinking about it, and decides to make her move all in for 35 million.
Oh man, close one for Icarus. Makes the call. Live cards.
Oh my
8 on the
gosh, she's
flop.
running crazy good right
Straight
now.
draw, but the board bricks out for Icarus, and that is a double up for Vanessa Kade. Still the shortest stack at the table, but now more than 10 bigs.
And what did I say about Icarus?
Oh, Icarus is now the shortest stack. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Indeed, Icarus, fewer than 10 bigs. It's Icarus in the danger zone.
I can picture Stars giving her a contract after this, unless she already had some sort of.
So often you make,
This is a good story for like women in poker, you know.
Correct fold in a really intense spot, and then you got nothing left.
Yeah.
I think she's already with ACR or something, but GG dropped her because she had that feud with.
I tell you what, if I had Talabenis,
She had some feud about Dan Bilzerian. I don't know. I don't know if ACR. I think ACR.
I get 1.5.
She has some sort of deal or something with them, but I can picture Stars giving her something because this is pretty good.
I think I honestly would prefer the legendary.
It doesn't really matter though. I mean, she just won $1 million, and Stars isn't really giving out much money these days for contracts and stuff.
That means more to me than the money would. That would be absolutely legendary.
Another pot. Talabenis holding firm above the 700 million mark, raising the buck with 8-7. The sailboats for Pancho. And the pause still good.
still good and still have some outs, even if they're not good or in bad shape.
I mean,
Ooh.
7 on the turn. The reality is, if they did the chip shot, I'm pretty sure that Talibanis would get more than first place prize money right now.
Yeah.
And Talibanis is now playing close to 760 million. Pancho's like, no, enough, stop it. No, it's
I mean, look, it's really tough to fight this.
Can you imagine
Okay,
Talibanis
Pancho
now check
doing their
raises?
best.
And if you get check raised here with Queen 9 and an Ace 6-5, 2 diamond board, what do I do now?
There you go. No one can win every pot unless you're Tonka.
All in from the Ace Queen of Ekidus.
Vanessa was like, I was going to do that from the button? Thanks.
Yeah. And now it's
Uh-oh.
Kings for Ekidus. And now you do the classic, oh, very small here.
Yeah. I'm just going to min raise it. Nobody's going to notice. I'm going to think real long about it, though, like after a real tough decision on my hand.
So all in, and Pancho with the decision with Ace Jack.
Wow, wait.
Pancho with Ace Jack again, this time Ace Jack suited. It's Talibanis who opens with Queen 10. Just a flat from Pancho. And a King 8 for flop. Come on, this is getting a little bit silly now.
Talibanis Knights.
What a position to be in. At the final table of an event with a $14 million prize pool. With 1.5 million up top, and you've just got such a stranglehold on it. Opens on the button with Ace Deuce, Pancho with Queen Jack.
Oh, man, oh, man. You just can't even play back with Queen Jack there just in case Vanessa gets it all in.
Opens again with 10-9. Ho Jack for Vanessa.
I mean, she's going to be ahead of this range, as we know. She knows. Still elects to take the risk-free route.
This is so silly. Talibanis now has 792 million. The second biggest stack is Pancho with 206 million.
I mean, there's just so much money on the line, right? Like, you can fold hands like King Jack, hoping that Talibanis is going to get in a situation where they're forced to call it all in from a short stack. Or there's a cooler between some of these other stacks.
Back up to 792. Hoping to cross that 800 million mark.
You know what's the best part is that we sit here watching this and everyone at home, myself included, is going, this is how I would play it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The reality is you just be kind of like folding and knitting it up, hoping to land it.
I'd totally be playing it this way. Look, I can be honest with myself and know that I would never jam that when that club draw came in with the 9 high. But the rest of it, I would do. I would do all this. This is exactly how
Well, we've got 9s in the small blind for Ekidus. Action's been folded to Vanessa Kade, who's got Ace 5.
Not for the store-bought sourdough. Artisanal, maybe. Not for that processed crap.
Ace 8 suited, and she has dropped down below the 10 big blind mark again.
This is tough.
Once
This is
again,
a tough one.
finds herself to be the shortest stack at the table, moves all in, and Transylvanian folds nines.
Oh my goodness, what?
Gets away with one there.
Huge pickup for Vanessa.
And
Huge,
now
and
she's
gets
got
kings
kings.
in the very next hand.
Wow. Talabenis opens on the button with 10-6 of spades. Vanessa decides to slow play, just calls. Queen, Jack, Jack on the flop.
This is gonna look super suspicious. I wonder if Talabenis puts another chip in. Yep.
Talabenis loves a bet.
Seems like there's more than enough out there. And if you're Vanessa, now you're probably second guessing yourself. Is it a jack?
Yeah.
Is it a jack here?
Oh my god.
Oh, what a horrific turn card.
You get the ace on the turn.
Just put the queen out on the river so that you're literally losing to every single thing.
Okay, river's the straight. And Talabenis did slow down on the turn, checked it back.
Can't really get value here.
Yeah, Vanessa checks, Talabenis checks. Okay, that was an important pot for Vanessa. Back up over 90 million now as the blinds go up. We're now playing 3.5 million, 7 million.
And an important pot for dreams of a deal.
I love the fact you're keeping that dream alive.
Look at this, everyone has a 10 big blind stack except for Poncho and Talon.
Opening with ace-9, everyone folds. I mean, that's the thing, that pot that Talabenis just lost to Vanessa. You know those chips are coming back real soon. But equally a chance for Vanessa here, although nobody else at the table really has anything they can play with. Don't get funky with 8-deuce.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been happy no matter what happened there.
Well, this seems inevitable. Blind v blind, sevens versus ace queen. As you would say, Joe, see you at the river.
See you at the river indeed.
Queen high flop.
How hot is Talabenis right now?
Not coming seventh this time, and Icarus is KO'd, eliminated in seventh place. Cashes for $154,416. We are now six-handed at this final table. We have another all-in from the Linger. Everyone's now locked up. 225 grand, and Talabenis now has close to 900 million chips. A ridiculous chip lead.
I called it, by the way, for Icarus. A little quiet here right now, but I think it's just because the tension of this right now, of Talabenis just having such a towering chip lead over everyone else.
Yeah.
Just Hulk smashing their way through this final table.
It's absurd. I mean, everyone dreams of this, right? This is the situation everyone hopes that they make it to a final table, that they'll be in the spot where they just are like this human wrecking ball, which takes out every other player and builds this monster stack where they can just bully everyone else and put them in ICM jail. But to do it in an MTT of this size, of this stature, with this prize money on the line, I mean,
Yep. Nice play there from Vanessa, who decided to risk it all, get it all in with sixes. Got a flipping hand to fold. And a little risky considering the stack size of Pennsylvania and Malinga and Cube. And she may risking the biscuit again with.
well, Malinga is all in with ace-7 suited.
Pew, 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 pew.
9.
What a spot here. What a spot. Malinga can't knock you out, but the huge stacks, all the big stacks still to act behind you. I was gonna say, I think that's a let go.
Well, Ben is also thinking about it. Lets it go. I think this is going to be a call
Wow.
from Vanessa in the big blind with ace-queen. And we have Domination Nation on our hands here. Malinga at risk and behind. Vanessa hasn't made the call yet. Now she has. 7 on the flop.
Oh.
Domination, rotation, restoration on the turn. The queen hits, and that will send Malinga to the exit in 6th place, cashing for nearly $226,000. We're down to 5 players, Joe, and everyone's now locked up more than 330K.
No bazinga for Malinga. I mean, unless you count $225,000 for a $215 buy as a bazinga, which I think you can.
5 versus King 4 here.
Oh. Okay. Here you go, sassy pants.
Okay, we get Talabenas opening, flattered by Pancho. This is exactly the type of board that King Queen hates, exactly the type of board where Talabenas can bet their draw and get a fold. Up over 900 million now. Meanwhile, artisanal sourdough on the button for Transylvania. Pocket queens in the small blind for Pew. Ace-5 moves all in. Pew calls all in.
You're fist pumping and getting it in here.
Wheel draw. And it's the 4 on the river for the straight, and Pew eliminated in brutal fashion out in 5th place. We're down to 4. Pew cashes for 330K, and now we've reached the point where everyone gets at least the better part of $500,000. 483K now guaranteed.
That was horrible. I'm gonna need a minute after that one. Look at Vanessa Kade, second in chips now, up over 225 million.
Yeah, bear in mind it wasn't that long ago, Joe, where she was the super short stack down to 5 big blinds. She was in the hyper danger zone. I mean, not overly comfortable with that stack size, but still second on the leaderboard behind Talabenas, who just still has a ridiculous lead and a ridiculous advantage. Oh, look at this, Joe. Talabenas asks guys numbers. Transylvanian says yeah. And this is exactly what you hoped for. This is exactly what you predicted. The Talabenas, despite having this ridiculous chip lead, would be willing to do a deal. Transylvanian says, let's look at the numbers. Well, that's 2 out of 4. I can't believe the other 2 are going to say no. Vanessa Kade says, that's my favourite move. Numbers, question mark.
Odd move to be your favorite, but okay.
Lol. Just asking, says Talabenas. Yeah, we can talk. So remember, there is a button that the players can tick, which effectively says, do you want to do a deal? And if all 4 players tick the box, if all 4 players click the button, the action is paused and they will go away and negotiate behind the scenes. We are not party to those negotiations and we don't know what will be discussed, we don't know what will be agreed. So we know Transylvanian has clicked the button. Taliban says they've clicked already. I mean, can you imagine if Pancho, who's sitting there with around 12 big blinds, vetoes a deal?
I mean, nothing about the way this deal conversation is making any sense. Taliban is offering the deal. Vanessa acting like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll look at them. And the short stack having not clicked it at all yet.
It's ridiculous. Nefla just said I clicked, so Vanessa Kade is in for the other conversations. Transylvanian definitely up for it.
Oh, hold on a second, hold on guys, 1 second. Let's hold off on the deal for a second. Just give me one, maybe one more hand.
Well,
then we can talk deal. No, I mean, no reason, but just one, like, let's just play that one more hand till
oh my God! What do you do now? I mean, you have to call. You have to, right?
Oh, you have to call. You cannot fold. Oh, this is so sick. This is so sick. King on the flop. Lock it up on the turn.
Okay, well that evens things significantly, and now Talibenes no longer has the huge advantage. There's not that much separating Talibenes and Vanessa Kade right now.
Why are they still not dealing?
Pancho, wake up!
Grandma, back right into the chat first. Guys, I gotta get the Emperor on the phone real quick.
Ask for ICM plus 10K.
My guess is that maybe a couple other boxes are getting unchecked right now also. I mean, but that's just like, maybe not. Kings again. Talk about late stage run good. Who amongst us ever phased the ace there? I don't think I've ever seen that happen. I think the software must be broke. Uh-oh, Transylvanian's turn.
That's a
just another
solid board.
You gotta check this back. Like I say, always bet your sets, but I mean, come on. What can your opponent have here?
So a reminder that
Good luck, Pancho.
we believe that everyone bar Pancho has the deal box ticked.
Has Pancho, did Pancho weigh in at all?
Pancho, I don't believe, has said anything. And Pancho keeping their head above water, but still hovering around the 10 big blind mark. And after doubling up Vanessa, Talibenes can't really play the same way they were before.
No. Isn't always the way too that you lose that huge spot, and a very powerful competitor doubles up through you and sort of takes away your power, and then you just start getting hands like 10-6 offsuit.
Yeah. Oh. And Talabenes opens with King 10. Pancho with Ace Queen gets it in, and Talabenes cannot fold.
Oh!
Looking good for Ace
Wow.
Queen.
Uh-oh.
Ace on the river. Barry Greenstein seals the deal, and Pancho doubles up. So Pancho no longer the shortest stack. Transylvanian is now the low player at the table. Meanwhile, the gap again narrows between Talabenes and Niffler, Vanessa Kade.
Hachi, Machi, what a flop.
Yeah.
Pancho's going to be right back in the basement with Transylvanian after this hand. Unless they make this call and then they're out. Man, you really can level yourself into a call here sometimes. You just think, oh, the chip leader's just been getting beat up left and right. They don't have it here. Good fold.
Blind v blind. Queen Jack versus 4 deuce.
Interesting defend.
Yeah. Okay.
If you defend 4 high, you may not believe that Pancho's caught any piece of this, but Niffler does make the correct pull on the flop. Transylvanian. All in. Urban Bourbon says Pancho out here gonna win. This is what I love about poker. That is possible. Absolutely possible.
It's true. It's true. I did notice
The
someone
guy who slept
playing the karma card, though, saying that it's always the player who refuses the deal who busts first. Not
I saw
strictly
no
true.
evidence that Pancho was refusing the deal. I saw evidence that Pancho maybe was unaware that deal talk was happening. What kind of, what's Pancho's average buy-in? Has Pancho been to a final table before? Yeah, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as we established earlier on, Pancho is the player who was competing in 2K heads-up hyper turbos a few years back. This is Domination Nation here. And Talabenes is behind but betting. And that 3 on the river sees the board pair. And assuming this gets a showdown, Joe, we are going to have a chop pot on our hands. Sick river for Vanessa. But it is a chop pot, and Joe, you know what they say. loves a chop putt, including Vanessa Kade.
Yes, she is included in everyone, turns out.
We're in the pressure on Transylvanian. You're right, both Transylvanian and Pancho. Dawn LeBasement right now, Joe, both at risk. Lines going up in 1 minute to 4 million, 8 million.
This one.
So I think it's worth just clarifying, because we keep using the D word a lot. Even though there was the suggestion of a deal, even though there seemed to be some interest from 3 out of the 4 players at this final table in negotiating, or at least looking at the numbers, right here, right now, they are playing for the advertised payouts. Next player, 483k. A huge jump between 4th and 3rd. 707,000 for 3rd, and then ridiculous jumps, 1 million for 2nd, 1.5 million for the winner. That's what's at stake right now.
And it is all going to be at stake very soon. I can't imagine this is going to go four-handed for too much longer.
Yeah, we've just seen that jump in the blinds I was talking about. So now 4-8. And we have 2 players in the danger zone. And it's top 2 here for Vanessa. Nothing for Pancho to get in trouble over though.
Well, let's check it back one time. Oh, let's get a little fancy. Nope. Small though. 1 big blind. Too many big blinds.
King Jack for Transylvanian. And they do pull the trigger, Joe, and I think Vanessa's going to call out of the big blind with King Queen suited.
It stands to reason.
There's the call. It is domination, nation, a jack, but also clubs. And there's the flush on the turn. It's over. Transylvanian is eliminated in 4th place. The micro stakes player cashes out for $483,652, and we are now 3-handed. Vanessa Kade, Pancho Vetin, and Talabenes. By the way, Talabenes, we also think, is a low-stakes player from Poland. Their best online cash that we have on record was in the $22 Mini Monday for 8.5k. And $215 is equal to the biggest buy-in they've ever played.
So sick. Vanessa definitely had a Pancho's range here. There's the call. Domination Nation in favor of Pancho hits an 8.
And this is a chop pot. And you know what they say, Joe? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Nothing like a little late game run good.
So Pancho still pretty short, super short in fact, looking for an opportunity.
People are saying Pancho did not love that chop pot. I don't think you guys listen to the song. Should we sing it again?
Look, I appreciate that when you've got 97.3% equity on the flop.
Oh,
you're
wow.
disappointed
Everybody's
not to win
pretty much
the
even
hangout,
now.
right? But hey, it's better than losing.
Which I think was not possible after the turn, but
It doesn't matter.
look, I'm sure Pancho doesn't care about the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity. He just wanted to hear the song.
A good song is worth so much more
That's right.
than
Music touches us
hundreds
all.
of thousands, if not millions of dollars. We are rapidly heading towards the next break. It looks like we are going to be going into that break with 3 players at the final table, unless something horrible happens to Pancho or there's some unnecessary cooler between Nifla and Talabenes. Ace 9 all in, 9 deuce folds.
Ooh, cheeky limp. Not the flop we were hoping for.
Ace high still ahead, but Talabenes with the most equity here.
You got the spade, you got the gut shot, you got the spade and the gut shot.
Well, we've already seen 1 straight flush today. Are we going to see another? This time, it can't be a 6-card straight flush, but hey, we'll take the 5 card in hand.
You don't have the best spade in your hand possible, so the holder is fine.
And that is going to take us to the break. So 3 players remain, all guaranteed more than 700k with $1 million for the runner-up and 1.5 million to the winner. The closing stages of the 15th anniversary of the Sunday Million. $215 buy-in, $14 million prize pool, and a short break, and then the action will resume at the final table. And because we're now playing short-handed, we have to bring Nick Walsh back into the mix, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is his wheelhouse. This is where we bring you back, Nick, because this is exactly your area of expertise.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing me back. When it counts, guys, 3-handed, short-handed, heading towards a shorter step back play. This is what I know and love. This is the stuff that I love to stream for you guys. So it's great that you guys brought me back. And also, don't think I didn't notice. You're like, all right, Nick, yeah, at 9:30, you can go on your break, no big deal. Most action-packed moment of the entire stream. I couldn't look away. I was sitting here watching it with you guys. I might as well have stayed on stream. I got some food in me, but we're back to finish this up. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, and that was an awesome session. Obviously, a fair few eliminations, but also, as you would have observed, Nick, the failed deal negotiations, or no attempt to even negotiate a deal.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add something to this as well, because obviously we were talking about how Pancho was used to be a high-stakes hyper reg. A lot of people in the chat like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? There's something must be wrong with him. If this guy was playing 2K hypers, you guys get 100 binds, it's like 200K right there. There's a good chance he was rolled like uber big. So, you know, this could be a walk in the park for him for all we know.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to touch on, actually, is the 3 players remaining right now. So, as we just established, Pancho, playing from Bulgaria, we know was a hyper turbo sit and go specialist. Let's talk about Vanessa Kade, Nifla. Do you know Vanessa at all, Nick? Watch her streams? Ever met her in real life?
No, not personally. I've actually never had the pleasure to meet her before. Just follow her on social media and whatever so far.
Yeah, Joe, I remember when Vanessa came on the podcast, and I was fascinated to learn about her life pre-poker when she was in the video games industry, working for BioWare and LucasArts.
Yeah, that's a great episode. Folks should go back and give that a listen, especially if you're not only familiar with Vanessa in the present day. You know, she's obviously a thought leader in poker, someone that a lot of folks look up to and listen to, and her journey's been a very interesting one. And she, from what I understand, was adaptive of the Twitch sort of streaming thing pretty early on as well. You know, I didn't really follow a ton of streamers back then, but she's always been someone that's kind of on the forefront of what's coming next in poker. And to see her name in the top 3 in the Sunday Million does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is I remember at that time, and it might have been a couple of years ago now, she was specializing in streaming whilst wearing a onesie, but also on her treadmill as well. That takes commitment to stream, play online, and be on a treadmill simultaneously. Talabenes is a player who did have what looked like the insurmountable chip lead, still has the advantage right now, still is number 1 on the leaderboard, but the distance between them and Vanessa is not as great as it once was. And Talabenes is another player who we think is mainly a low-stakes MTT player, playing from Poland. From our records, Nick, we don't think Talabenes has ever played anything above a $215 buy-in, which would explain why, even when they did have that monster stack, they were still willing to look at the numbers.
Yeah, I guess that's the case, but I mean, I have to say, like you guys pointed out, I mean, I was following along with the whole thing. Like the sort of ICM pressure that he was wielding at the very start of that final table was pretty masterful. I was very, very surprised. I mean, also having said that though, I mean, these days the level of play has come up a whole lot, and a lot of players who are used to even playing lower stakes can have a pretty commanding understanding of ICM pressure and the way that can go. But that was really exciting to see, and yeah, I guess that is indicative of somebody who is definitely sweating those kinds of numbers, as I think most people do, regardless of my comments about 2K hyper players.
Yeah. Joe, it is your turn to take a brief hiatus from the booth as we return to the final table of the Sunday Million with 3 players remaining. When we come back, blinds will resume at the level they were at, and that means Pancho Vetin is going to be under extraordinary pressure right now. And that kind of feels like where it's going, Nick, that we'll lose Pancho, and then it's going to be heads up between Talabenes and Nefla, and maybe then we'll potentially see a deal negotiated. But of course, that's the most likely outcome, but it doesn't mean it will happen, right? One double up, Pancho's back in it. As we've seen time and time again covering these events, particularly the Sunday Million, the swings are real and they happen very quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and we've spoken about this already. If Pancho is indeed the sort of hyper reg that we know him to be, then I expect him to understand exactly how to play three-handed very effectively. But also, I wouldn't say, like in other Sunday Millions, that that's an edge that he has on the other two. The other two have shown, absolute understanding of how to play in these shorter-handed, shorter stack situations as well. Obviously Vanessa and Talabenes both showing off some really, really cool sort of ICM all-in adjustments that we've seen time and time again. So, I don't know if that's going to provide an edge of any variety at this point. I think they're all pretty evenly matched from what we've seen so far. It looks like Niffler is going to give the threes a spin here right off the bat, so we could be seeing it happen.
And a queen or a jack is required. Instead, it's a meaningless Barry Greenstein. So Pancho does get the double up. Still short, but now has more than 10 big blinds.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it doesn't take too many doubles before we're going to see a more competitive Pancho as we're three-handed. But, yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out at this stage, guys. This is definitely the most exciting time to jump into this tournament, so thank you very much for having me back on. It's such a perfect time. I know James probably planned this out from the start. He had it all figured out. We're going to bring back
Absolutely.
Sometimes it just happens like that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Nick. If I look at the clock right now, I wouldn't have thought that we'd be three-handed at this point. I kind of figured that we'd have reached the final table, but I was thinking more like 8 players than 3.
Sure. I was actually locked in for a long session here because, as you said in this Sunday Million Anniversary Edition, the clocks did increase as well at some point, right, as we got to the final 2, I believe, so final 2 tables. So I was expecting it to be even longer than usual. I was locked in for the marathon session. I was here for it, but Talibene is just running the table down, unbelievably so.
And Talibene is starting to pull ahead again, up over 800 million, starting to make sure that there's that decent gap between themselves and Nebula in second.
Yeah, I mean, so far, like, it is somewhat difficult to comment, well, it's hard to commentate on the action that we've seen thus far because just seen a lot of standard play, like, everyone's understanding what they should be opening, they're making adjustments for the bigger stacks, they're defending the correct ranges in the big blind so far. A lot of the really, really exciting stuff happened before I jumped on, where we were seeing Talabenes just absolutely punish top pair left, right, and center. Really, 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 really interesting ICM spots. I have to say, I really think that this is like, we've been doing the Sunday Millions coverage for a little while now, and I think for a lot of players who would watch the more, sorry guys, let's just finish up this hand first, yeah, it does take it down. For a lot of the players that have been watching, like EPT coverage and stuff like that, that was televised, where, it was more of a highlight reel of things that happened. It can be a little bit difficult for players to go like, what is it about this guy or this girl that makes them so good in these situations? Like we're seeing some big pots, but like, yeah, those are all set up to be able to actually see the entire process from start to finish, including the hands that they're folding, including the hands that they're three-betting, including the spots where they're just getting away from stuff. All the boring stuff that like makes you a better player, we get to see when we're doing these sessions. And to be able to see week in and week out the sort of ICM flow, I think it gives people a much better understanding of what that means and how powerful it could be in the moment, which we just don't get from those sort of highlight reels because it has to be sort of condensed into the most exciting moments.
Sevens versus 8-5. And seven's still good. And now the 8 on the turn sees Vanessa with the advantage.
That was a good call right there.
She's going to be pretty confident she has the best hand once we see the check on that turn. Yeah. She might even try and go for a little bit of value here. This is a spot where even like ace high, king high can still hero on the paired board like this. The 5 does negate some calls. The double paired boards are obviously better for those, but 7's obviously going to come along every time. She does find that really thin value, and I love to see that three-handed. Okay, blind be blind.
It's getting to the point where Pancho's almost sitting out, right? Just hoping that these two continue to play flops, that some huge cooler's going to emerge, and
Yeah. I mean, he's just got one of those stacks where either player can really afford to just give him a spin, and it's a dangerous place to be because a lot of those all-ins that we learn, you know, are based on having some sort of a stack which actually can generate folds. But when your opponents can afford to call much wider, it's a dangerous place to be, and you got to be thinking this a lot tighter. Niffler obviously gonna never be getting away from Queen Jack at this point. Paired boards, top pair, really good kicker, no chance. I wonder if she just check calls just to control the pot here, even trying to get some more bluffs out of Televenes.
Wow.
There it is.
Oh my god. Wow. What a call. Wow.
so 4 million, 8 million blinds right now, and the blinds go up in 10 minutes' time.
What a shove. What a call.
King 4 suited. It's a mandatory open here, three-handed. There it is. Okay, Queen 8 suited come in with a 3-bet here. These guys are really deep. But I think the King 4 suited is probably still going to be a fold regardless. Not quite enough playability to play for play against the larger of the two stacks, especially with the shorter stack there still.
A7 all in, A6 for Niffler, calls. And this is going to be another chop between these two. I'm not going to force you to do it, Nick, don't worry. But
I was ready.
it's 3 in a row, I think they've had now. And I was just thinking, I was just looking at the stacks and thinking about what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, if we
Oh
do
my
see
gosh,
a
this
situation
is
where
big.
Pancho is KO'd, there is
Wow.
the prospect of a pretty long deep
Oh my
stack heads
gosh,
up
she
battle
did it.
between Niffler and
Yeah.
the now disconnected Televenes.
Oh geez, this is not the time. This is not the time. I think if we do see that heads up though, I wonder if the deal conversation will come back into play. These two were talking deals. I know that Pancho not so much thus far, but again they have to play for that 50K, and 50K is nothing to sniff at.
No.
So I think we probably will see it. I mean, the play thus far has gone so quickly. All those chips had to go somewhere, right, James? You know, we didn't expect to be at this stage, but the chips had to go somewhere, and they're in these stacks. So if we do end up seeing two of the bigger stacks going to war, could be a very prolonged heads-up match.
Televenes sitting out because of
No.
the disconnect.
Oh
What
no,
a horrible situation.
that's not when you want to. I'm surprised you didn't get more disconnect protect there, to be honest. I mean, at this point, you know, I think you just dragged your feet a bit.
She did it. Good game, Vanessa. That was crazy. Oh my god.
I'm wondering if that's exactly what Vanessa is thinking here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're three-handed. This is televised. I think this is definitely the time when you give the guy a break.
She's saying, hey, can we like pause until this dude comes back?
Oh my gosh, she was my pick yesterday
Yeah,
too. I
think
even
that's,
told
I
somebody
think
that she was going to win it too with 70 players left.
This isn't the $2 spinning cup.
Wow.
Cool for him at all.
What a
He has
game.
returned, however.
From short
There you
stack too. What a great game.
Never
Well
mind,
played.
he's back.
Amazing.
Televenes, what happened?
Good game, everybody that
What
played.
happened?
That was a fun tournament, 3-day event. What a grind. Good luck, everybody in Scoop coming up. They just released a schedule.
Wow.
I'll see you there.